Hey, I'm Andrew Seifter, your Fantasy Pros expert. On Starter Sit, we will help you consider which fantasy football players you should lean towards starting and which ones to sit. All of the most difficult lineup decisions will be answered here. We'll analyze the games from a fantasy football perspective to get you ready for this week's action. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and put your comments below. Come back to see if your comment made the cut on our next episode.
Andrew, I'm excited about start and sit. Let's see what everybody has to say. Let's go.
All right, guys. So let's get going here. Let's go game by game and see what we think from a fantasy perspective here. Let's start with what I think might be the most intriguing game of the entire week, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs traveling into New Orleans to face the Saints. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game, fantasy wise?
I always say, to me, Kansas City's very easy. You always start your three, the regular three, right? Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey. I'm not really interested in anyone else because I think everyone else, especially on the wide receiver side, because I think everyone else is kind of like a boomer bust. And I don't know about, CEH. I don't really trust him this week. We're in the semifinals. I like to stick to those three guys during the semifinals. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think CEH has really kind of pushed himself out of that top 24 every week start kind of situation. I mean, I think that a lot of fantasy managers may need to use him. I've got him ranked maybe in that 25 to 30 range. But he's been pretty disappointing, and that's a good defense that he'll be facing.
Yeah, it's like really since they brought Le'Veon Bell on, his usage is just very unpredictable. So
yeah, they can't really run the ball. And then Ross, what do you think about the Saints?
I feel, you got to start. I don't know who's playing quarterback. That's the big question. Is it Drew Brees or is it Hill? I'm not quite sure. I don't think Brees should be playing. I think Hill should be their starting quarterback. I feel he brings another dimension to them. He runs. He even does the option. He's not afraid to get tackled. Brees is 11 broken ribs. He also had a collapsed lung. That was 4 games ago. He wants to come back this early, which is, I think it's way too soon, but who knows? They've been 3-1 without him. Might as well have him sit another week. I feel the Saints will have a good game. I just don't know about the receivers. I feel the receivers, even Thomas, up and down all year.
Well, he's also missed 2 practices this week. So
he did miss 2 practices. I read that too.
Yeah.
So I feel, all that being said, I feel Kamara, you got to start. I'm not too high on anybody else except maybe Hill and Kamara. Then that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, I really feel like it's a totally different team if it's Hill or if it's Brees. I mean, if Hill starts, I think Hill is a better fantasy quarterback than Drew Brees is at this stage of their careers. So I think if Hill plays, he's like a top 6 quarterback for me, top 7, something like that. If it's Brees, he's probably more like a low end quarterback 1, or maybe even a high end quarterback 2, But the thing is, if Brees plays, I think it's good news for Jared Cook at tight end. It's good news for Emmanuel Sanders. Those ancillary parts of that passing game haven't done so well with Taysom Hill. Maybe they get a touchdown, but they're not putting up big yardage. He really throws to Michael Thomas a ton. So I think Thomas, if he's healthy enough to play as a wide receiver 1, no matter what, but I wouldn't be interested in guys like Sanders and Cook unless Brees gets the start.
And Saints defense, don't start Saints defense. Don't start Saints
Never
defense.
Against Kansas City.
Repeat after me. Don't start the Saints defense.
Yeah.
Pick up somebody else. It's a horrible start for you this week, especially if you're in the playoffs, and you are in the playoffs if you're watching us right now. And you have to have a great defense, and Saints is not the answer.
Okay, we got to move on. Lauren, what was your closing thought there?
Oh, I was just saying, I also think that Brees coming back would be good for Kamara. I think he would also be more of a receiver like he was in the beginning part of the year.
Yeah, that's true. Although Taysom threw to him a bunch the last week or 2,
he did.
So it's kind of changed a little bit. All right, how about the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Washington to face the football team? What do you guys think is going to happen there?
Seattle, I really like Wilson and Metcalf. That's it. I am not trusting Lockett. I feel like people are living off of kind of these high expectations of Lockett. He hasn't scored since week 8. And in that time, he hasn't received for more than 67 yards. So those are really kind of like the 2 main guys out of Seattle for me. And I feel like with Washington, you're always rolling with Terry McLaurin. I think that this will be a good game script for like J.D. McKissick. I think that they'll be playing from behind, and he should be getting some of the passes. I don't know. Is is Dwayne Haskins? Will he be starting, or is that
I still think Alex
Alex
Smith is
Smith?
likely to play. I'm gonna
Okay.
go a little wild here on you. I
Mm-hmm.
think that Russell Wilson is kind of an overrated play this week.
Mm,
Actually, if
okay.
you look at it, I just looked into this. It's kind of shocking. In the last 5 games, Russell Wilson is the quarterback 25 in fantasy points.
Really? Huh.
He's just been really uninspiring. He hasn't thrown. He had 4 touchdowns last week, but he was playing the Jets. Other than that game, he had gone like 5 games in a row without a 3 touchdown game. After
Hmm.
like 5 of his first 7 games, he had 3 touchdowns or more. Same thing with 300-yard games. He had a bunch of them at the beginning of the season. He hasn't had one in a month and a half. So I
Oh,
actually think people are still kind of looking at that Seahawks offense the way it was early in the season, and it hasn't actually been like that in a while. And that Washington defense is really good.
yeah.
So I have Wilson as my quarterback 10 this week. If you happen to have someone like Taysom Hill and he started, I would actually play him over Russell Wilson.
Hmm.
What do you think, Ross, about this game?
I think Russell Wilson's a horrible start this week. The Washington pass defense is the best in the league. That's a huge red flag for Seattle. Seattle's defense is not good. They're not a good defense. I feel Washington's going to run all over them. Whoever start, I don't think Gibson's starting. You start McCase, start whoever's playing running back there in a big game. I just feel low scoring game. I feel the team of Washington will win, but it's going to be really low scoring fantasy wise. It's not going to be a good game for either team.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Definitely start McLaurin because he can just succeed in any situation. And McKissick has some interest as like a low end RB2. But for the most part, it's DK Metcalf is the only player you're like super excited about because he's just unreal. All right. How about the Eagles at the Cardinals? What do you guys think? Let's start with Ross this time.
So I love Hurts. I'm on the Hurts bandwagon. I feel this kid has something to prove. He was drafted in the second round. I like him as a start. The Arizona defense has been so up and down the whole year. One game he looked great, one game he looked bad. I like Hurts a lot. I like Sanders now. I feel the Eagles offense is moving with Hurts. I think that the whole different team now without Wentz. I like those two for sure. I don't know who I'd start as receiver for them. Maybe Hurts to Hurts, but we'll see what
Good one.
happens. But then on the other side with Arizona, Murray's been not good. He has been really shaky the past few starts. I don't like him right now. If I was starting a quarterback, I would not start him, especially in the playoffs, especially the semifinals. Hopefully you're in. I would bench Murray. The other guys you got to start. Drake is a monster. He's been getting the ball a lot. Haskins. I mean, all these guys you have to start, but I would bench Christian Kirk. He's benched. I would bench Fitzgerald. He's benched. But I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles guys I mentioned a lot.
Yeah, actually, the Kyler Murray with his fantasy value has taken a little bit of a hit because he hasn't run as much. He did run a little bit more last week, so that's an interesting thing to watch. But Drake has really been the main beneficiary of Kyler running less because that has meant more running opportunities for Drake, especially at the goal line. And he's been a monster, like you said, scoring touchdowns. And something to watch is Chase Edmonds actually is trending towards potentially not playing in this game. And if that happens,
Yeah.
I think I'll have to move Drake into my top 10 and maybe even higher. What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with both of you guys on this. And, I think to me, the interesting thing is, Jalen Hurts with those on the ground, I think he had over 100 yards, 106 yards last week. I'm curious to see if, how Arizona defense handles that. I don't know if they can contain him because I think that's just another avenue that, you didn't have to prep for that with Carson Wentz, right? And so this is like a whole new thing. So I'm curious to see how Arizona does with that. But I agree with both of you guys in terms of the fantasy players.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hurts is a little bit like Taysom Hill in the sense that it's good. It makes the quarterback valuable because they run a lot, but it sort of hurts the receivers. Like I don't really want anything to do with any of the Eagle receivers,
Yeah,
except Dallas Goedert. Tight end is so shallow. I think he's still a
Mhm.
good play.
Yeah.
Okay, how about the Patriots at the Dolphins? This is a really interesting matchup, I think. Lauren, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm avoiding all of the Patriots. I feel like I don't know. I think this is an interesting game. I think this is going to be Tua really versus Bill Belichick, and I feel that it's like Belichick. Tua hasn't been super great, but it's going to be a big kind of test for the rookie quarterback. And I'm not exactly sure who is playing in Miami. Is Gaskin?
Nobody's sure.
That's the thing. Like I was like, so Gaskin, is he still on the COVID list?
So yeah, he's still on the COVID
He is right
list.
now.
Yeah,
And then But you
It's-
have
it's-
all these injuries, right?
It's
To
a
like
mess.
Devontae
It's a mess.
Parker.
I
Yeah.
would say like Gaskin is unlikely to play, but it's still potentially possible. And then
Mhm.
Salvin Ahmed is dealing with his injury, but he's gotten in limited practices this week, so he could play maybe. If
Mhm.
he doesn't play, then you're down to DeAndre Washington. And then at wide receiver, they're banged up too. Yeah, like you said. So Devontae Parker is hurt. Jakeem Grant's hurt, but both of those guys I think might be able to play. I personally think it's interesting. These two teams have sort of killed their fantasy value in different ways. The Patriots, just the way they play, it's like hard to play anyone there. And the Dolphins
Mhm.
just have all these injuries. What do you think,
Yeah.
Ross?
I agree. Danger, 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 Will
Yeah.
Robinson, danger. That being said, I would stay away from every player in this game. I don't like it at all. Tua, rookie, go against Bill Belichick. You stay away from him. You stay away from that. I don't like anybody. Try to stay away from that game.
Yeah, I mean, the one guy I might be interested in is Gesicki. He was supposed to be out, but then he shockingly came back to practice today.
I saw that.
Oh.
But
maybe
again,
he'll play. Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay. How about the Browns at the Giants? This is going to be the Sunday night game.
Ooh.
Let's start with Ross.
You got to play Hunt. You got to play Chubb. They're having great years. Start them, not matter what. The Giants defense is stepping it up. I like them. They can even win the game. I don't know. But Gelman's a beast right now. I feel he's running like crazy. I don't know what receivers I would start on the Giants side. You know, if you
Yeah.
need to start one of them,
None.
I don't know who to. Again, try to
None.
stay away from receivers. Gelman, I would start. On Cleveland's side, I don't think Baker's going to have a good game. I think this is going to be a horrible game for Baker. I would stay away. I feel this is
Well,
people that
just-
are starting Baker this week. They're in the playoffs. Horrible start. Try to find
Just to
somebody else.
counterpoint you though, Ross, James Bradbury, the star corner for the Giants, is actually going to be out for this game.
Oh, is he out?
So, yeah, so I think that just came out today, but I think that opens it up. And the Browns have been surprisingly good passing the ball lately. I'm kinda
Unbelievable.
shocked.
Unbelievable. But Baker's not consistent. You know that, Andrew. He's not a guy that comes out every week and throws 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He goes like this. And if he's in the wave coming down right now, because that horrible loss on Monday, it's a downer game. You know I'm right. I
Yeah.
would stay away from him. I would just
All
start
right,
the
Lauren,
running
if-
backs. I love
Lauren, if you
Peoples
have to
Jones,
start
though.
one player in this game that's not a running back, who are you
Peoples
starting?
Jones, University of Michigan. Peoples Jones, I like a lot.
I feel like Landry would be the safest then in terms
Ooh.
of that's who Baker's going to throw it to, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I mean that's who I would start. I wouldn't start Giants receivers.
No.
I also think that Myles Garrett could have a good day, probably teeing off on Daniel Jones.
And Evan Ingram is
You
so
know.
overrated, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, how about the Bears at the Vikings? This will be our last game. Let's start with Lauren.
Guys, I really like the Vikings in this one. I am all in on the Vikings in this game. These are two teams that are like they're on the outside looking in. They need a win. Cousins plays really well at home. I think he averages something like 12 or 13 more fantasy points at home than on the road. I like him. I like the receivers, all of his receivers, Thielen, Jefferson, even Irv Smith Jr., and Dalvin Cook is just always there. In Chicago, we always say you only want to start Robinson, but David Montgomery has been playing pretty well for the past 3 weeks. Now, granted, this is against like bottom of the barrel run defenses, and Minnesota's not that bad. But you still, I think you could play him with some sort of confidence there. Because he's been playing better of late.
Kirk Cousins, a different player at home. He's unbelievable. You start Cousins. I might even start him over like a lot of top 10 quarterbacks. He makes my top 10 easily. I would start Cousins. I think it's going to be a huge game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You heard it from me. I feel Cook, you got to start. Jefferson's unbelievable. I feel that Chicago, Montgomery's been playing great. I think he'll play well against Minnesota's defense. Mitch Trubisky, I don't trust at all. I wouldn't
Nor
start
should
him
you.
if I had him. And the rest of the receivers on Chicago, I would kind of stay away from. That's me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I think that the Vikings Cousins has just been unbelievable at home, and that's going to continue. Thielen's a great play too, along with Jefferson and Cook. And I've been banging the drum for Irv Smith as a sleeper at tight end.
You
So,
have.
I think he could have a really good game. And then on the Chicago side, I don't trust Mitch Trubisky. I do not want to play Mitch Trubisky in a fantasy championship or semifinal matchup. But I think Montgomery, you guys are right. He's a top 10 play at this point.
Yeah, you have to play him. Yeah.
But
You
I
have
like
to
the
play him.
Minnesota defense overall because Mike Zimmer knows how to shut down Trubisky. So they're
Love
a sneaky play too. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. If you disagree with us at home, let us know in the comments. And thanks for tuning in.
Lying with a blanket over my head, she asked if she could see who was under the blanket with me. I said, you don't want to find